It should open something up on YouTube. Before.
United getting beat. Shock.
Who?
United.
Oh, are they? Are we live?
I think we are. We are.
Oh. Well, in that case, good evening and welcome to the Sausage Cab. I'm John. That's Harry. Says his name underneath.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do tonight is basically just have a rundown of all the kind of teams, the drivers, liveries. We'll see what your favourite liveries are. And we'll also do a little bit about some other news and maybe some predictions as well. But I just want to make sure the sound's working properly. So if anybody's in chat, because it does take a little while for people to kind of jump into chat, can you just tell us that the audio's okay? Because it's my worst nightmare and I have ballsed it up before. But anyway, what you been up to, Harry? Much? Looking forward to the weekend?
I'm looking forward to the weekend. We've not had any racing to watch in a while, have we?
No, not really. Yeah, the F1's even had a
This
bit of a break, hasn't it? So
F1's had a break. This will be our first live racing action of the season, won't it? Well, the year, I
yeah,
believe. Um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the weather looks a bit spurious, doesn't it? I mean, I don't mind getting wet, and it actually makes for a bit of racing. So hopefully, hopefully that'll play a bit of part. I think at the weekend. What do you think? You put it down there,
yeah,
aren't you? You can put
yeah.
it down there.
What I've done is I've stuck a little bit with the Saturday and Sunday
Look at
weather
it.
on there.
Looks a bit
So
moist, doesn't it?
it does. I mean, the problem is it's quite open there because you've got the airport. You've got East Midlands Airport right beside it, so the weather does change quite a lot. But usually, any weather front does sweep right across um, the track because East Midlands Airport generally, the planes take off into the weather basically. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to blow over by then or whether we're going to see mixed conditions. Mixed conditions would be cool for racing, I
We'll see
think.
what you said. Are you excited?
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, obviously, it was a shame that we've lost a few drivers, haven't we? We've lost
And
the
the team.
big, yeah. The big news really is we've lost team dynamics, which a lot of people didn't see. Um, there was some mumblings about it. There was bits and bobs about it, but no one really spoke about them actually not competing at all. It was just who the driver line was going up, and then obviously Creasy's not managed to be on the grid this year. Ash Hand, so both them guys from Power Max Racing, they both don't race this season in the British Touring cars. Ash Hand's taken a bit of a back seat. Who else? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. We'll know when we start going through all these teams and drivers here, because there is a couple of TBL licenses, which I'm sure there's a couple that weren't taken up.
Audio's working up. Yeah, I've just tested it.
Good. It's good to know when things go right because generally I press the wrong button and things don't go right. Oh, there's Dan. How's the audio, Dan? Dan will tell us. He's really good at letting us know if there's any technical issues or balls up at this end. But I think I've got it right. I did check with Rich a couple hours ago. Yeah, because last time I went live and I think everybody could hear Dave, who was on with me, but nobody could hear me, which might have been a blessing anyway. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll start by going through these teams here. The BTCC.net website's been updated and it looks quite cool. So
Looks smart, doesn't it? They've done well. They've done well
yeah,
for once.
I mean, last year everyone was moaning about the livery's been too dark, not enough colour on the grid, and I think this season everyone's kind of kicked back because I think the cars look ace this year. So we'll start off with these two drivers. It's Dexter. I'll make this a bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit bigger so everyone can see it. But basically, this is part of Team Hard, but they obviously get branded with their main sponsors, and the lead sponsor is Re. Beverages. So I think it's like Re-Energize or something like that. Beverages. like an energy drink, and Barclaycard with Team Hard. So it's Team Hard with these two cars, the Cupras. We've got Dexter Patterson, who I believe does fly this flag for Scotland. I think he's kind of got an English accent, but I think he does put the Scotland flag down as his nationality. And we've got Jade Edwards, who was really late to the party. So she was over the moon to get on the grid.
So Dexter, he was at Laser, wasn't he? And he's come across.
He was at Laser alongside Aidan Moffat last season, and I thought he was quite promising actually. He outperformed Aidan a couple of times with a rear-wheel drive car. I think he came from karting in a few club championships, so it was a good season to get under his belt.
Yeah. Is that car off the grid now, Dan?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, I did think after Rick Parfitt had a rant at us, remember at Brands Hatch on the last race of the season, he was having a good old rant and saying the car was, it was a bucket, it was ready to go, and he would be very surprised if you saw a single Infinity. Oh, here's Mr. Pitlanes, Rich, cool, he's in the chat as well. If you've got any questions of that, just fire them in chat. Make sure you like the stream. All that good stuff.
Jade, she came from obviously BTC racing.
Yep, she was at BTC, which are now One Motorsport.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into that, but it's basically Dexter Patterson and Jade Edwards, and this is their car for the season. So it is that kind of re-energise. Oh, sorry, I said Barclaycard. It's Barter card, isn't it? Yeah, Barter card. That was me. I don't know what that is.
So are they exactly the same car from last year?
Yeah, it is the Cupras. We've got a hell of a lot of Cupras on the grid. A lot of people have been kind of moaning about this.
Are they fast?
Well, they've been improving actually. I think we saw them coming towards the kind of top 8 side of the grid last year whenever they got a bit of a chance. But
I feel like Bobby Thompson did a shift, didn't he, towards the back end of last year?
Bobby Thompson had a couple of really good results. I think Aaron Taylor-Smith showed some decent pace before the last race of the season. And Bobby Thompson, I think, won the Jack Sears in a Cupra, so it's got promise. So we'll see, because there's plenty of them to get through. There's plenty of Cupras to get through. We won't go into the team bio, so that's part of Team Hard.
So can those two win the Jack Sears still? I believe they can.
I believe they're both. Yeah, they're both in for the Jack Sears, which is what they'll be going for. I'm just going to go in order so that we don't mix any. We'll go straight into Napa. This car looks ace this season, and so does the team, to be honest with you. I mean, Sam Osborne, he was always going to be there because here he is down here. We'll start here. Sam Osborne, he was always going to be in there. He's been part of the team at Motorbase. But the big one, well, Ash and Dan, they'd signed before Christmas anyway, but the big one was that Dan Rowbottom jumped over from Team Dynamics, taking Cataclean with him, which is a sizable sponsor, and Dan got a load of stick on social media and on the internet, basically saying that he caused the death of Team Dynamics and that, he should be ashamed and all the rest of it. But he done a bit of an interview with ITV, and I thought he came across really classy actually, his answers. At the end of the day, it was business, and it was at the end of a term where he could negotiate taking the sponsor to another team, and Napa, the door at Napa opened. I mean, why? I'm nothing against Team Dynamics. I think they've been absolutely brilliant for the sport, and they'll be back. They will be back. But when this came calling to drive this thing next season with the backing of Napa front wheel drive car, I think it suited Dan Rowbottom. So, what do you think of the car? What do you think of the livery?
You know what? The car looks better than last year.
You kind of thought
last year you had them both. They had Camish and Sutton. Then you thought, well, this team can't really get much better, can it? I think they won one of the team championships. Yeah,
it kind of gets broken down into kind of manufacturers backed and non-manufacturers backed, etc. It does get a bit complicated when it comes to that part of the championship, but I think the car looks absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And if Dan Camish and Ash Sutton have anything to say about it, I think they'll be rapid. I mean, obviously Dan Rowbottom's got a bit of learning to do in the car. But Ash Sutton and Dan Camish have already had a winter, or pre-winter kind of with the car.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, last season was a full learning year, wasn't it? The car
yeah,
wasn't really there. Didn't really get it set up right. They had issues left, right. I mean, I remember Camish was on fire, wasn't he, at Donington
yeah,
last year, I think.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see. I think those two that you're looking at there, 116 and what's the other boy? 117. I think they're both. I think they're both title
116 Ash Sutton,
contenders.
27 Dan Camish, 32 Dan
27
Noble.
Camish. I think they're both season title
Just
contenders.
just going to read a little bit of chat because the boys are in. Hello, Chris. Chris Kirkby, captain, is in. He's asking why Harry's not working. No, he's not really. But yeah, you're right, Rich. He was proper switched on. Dan. He's a really good speaker, Dan Rowbottom, and I'm a bit of a fan of him actually. I quite enjoy watching him. So hopefully he does well. Hopefully, I mean, God, you got three of them in the same team. That sticks the kind of cat amongst the pigeons a little bit. So it'll be good to see.
I'd like to see Sam Osborne get a podium.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him do well. I mean, he's been learning. At the end of the day, he's on the grid. His dad's got a big part of the team, etc., like that. But he's still learning, and he's still wanting to, he still wants to be competitive. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch all of them. I think the grid's still impressive, regardless. We have lost some decent people, but I think the grid still looks pretty impressive. I do remember in the early noughties, early noughties, a grid of about 9 cars or 9 or 12 cars. It was a bit embarrassing. So this looks healthy. So this is BMW, the official, obviously, WSR, West Surrey Racing, BMW team. And Adam Morgan has joined them. Obviously with Sicily taking a back step from British touring cars altogether. But still keeping their eye in on the kind of, I think they're quite heavily involved in kind of heritage motorsport, Goodwood, all that kind of stuff. But so they're just backing Adam in the touring cars, and he's went to BMW. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does against. Jelly's been a bit of a mainstay, still learning that car, I suppose. But with Turkington, he's Mr. Consistent, isn't he? So it'll be interesting to see how Adam gets on with him, because he's quite an aggressive driver.
He'll be up there. He'll be pushing Turkington. Turkington somewhat like that. He'll have seen Morgan come into the team and thought, I've got my hands full here. Because, yeah, like you said, Jelly, he didn't really push him last year, did he? I can't recall any situations where Jelly got the upper hand on him. But I think Morgan would be right there.
He had the chance of a couple of decent results, Jelly, but he kind of fell short a little bit. I think he was frustrated himself. I'm just looking to see if there's any more pictures of that car, because the car that doesn't do the car any justice. It looks fantastic this year.
I think Turkington will be hungry, because when was the last time he won the championship? 2018, was it?
Oh yeah, it was something like that.
When you were there, when Camish lost the brakes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really unlucky. It went down to the wire, as it usually does in the British touring cars. I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think Colin did. A lot of people did say he seemed a bit dejected last year. Probably a bit dejected with the car, but Jake Hill seemed to do okay in his car, so that's probably why he was dejected, because he was in a different BMW. But that's Team BMW. Bristol Street Motors with Accelerate. They've got a whole new look, really. They've still got. I'll start it down here, because they've still got number 1 Tom Ingram, won the championship. Fantastic. A lot of folks said that car was unbeatable last year, but it only seemed to be Tom who could get the best out of it. Tom Chilton, he's signed up as well. Ronan Pearson, he's a young Scottish lad who has came through Minis and got the opportunity through Accelerate from the Minis, being promoted up to the main team. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does. I'll be backing him, because he's literally from down the road from where I was from, Kelty, which is the other side of Knockhill. So
I love to see that. I love to see that they've clearly got a driver program there where they use the Minis as a stepping stone. So I'd like to see that they've stepped up and hopefully does well, and it can be a progression route for more drivers.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not giving these guys a shout, which seems a bit of a shame, but you'll hear loads about these guys next season. Tom Ingram, it speaks for himself. He's a nice guy. He's quick. He doesn't take any shit on track. Chilton on his day, rapid, but I think he really needs to know the car, and the car underneath him needs to be exactly perfect for him to see the best out of Chilton. It'll be interesting seeing Ronan Pearson. He had some great results in the Minis, and really bad luck as well. Or I think he would have won that championship last year. So, and Nick Halstead, he came in and out of the series last last year. He's kind of came from GT racing, so yeah, again I think he'll be going for the Jack Sears. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in a car that we know is competitive, and it looks brilliant this year as well.
Has he brought Ginsters back or what? Because I'm sick of it. I want some free pasties when we go on the weekend.
We do like the pasties, and I'm sure a lot of people will try and get the Gangsters pasties back on the go. I think it's on his car somewhere, but this is just the kind of generic Bristol Street Motors livery. But I think each driver has their own kind of sponsors as well. I've seen Ronan Pierce's car. I should have got a picture up of it really, but he's got like a Saltire type backed company on the roof and or on the bonnet. It looks really good. So yeah, that's Accelerate. And
what we got in the comments here?
Yeah, give him a
good question from Rich. Is hybrid why things seem to be so challenging now financially for the teams? It's a great question because
I'm sure we spoke about this last year, maybe, Rich. I think we saw folk last season very, very late to the grid, didn't we? I mean, even Creasy was really late to the grid, and there was maybe about another 7 drivers which were really late to the grid, and people kept on going, "Oh, is that not really late for them?" And I was like, well, it kind of feels like it happens every year, but I think last year with the hybrids, I think people really did struggle because I think the teams' asking price must have went up because they knew that the cost of these things when they went was a bit more. So yeah, I think it is a factor. I think that's probably been knocked on with the kind of financial cost of living crisis we've been going through for the last year. On top of that, I think that's probably added to it, and it's just made sponsors hold back.
Yeah.
And some of these drivers maybe have 3 or 4 main sponsors, which they take to a team and they back them, and it manages them to get their funds together. Sometimes that'll only see them through 3/4 of a season, and then they get further funding as they go through the year, which lets them finish the season. And that's just the reality of it. But I think nowadays it probably only takes one of your main sponsors to go, and that's you gone. You've got to look at other options, and instead of kind of scraping and knocking on doors to try and find enough to get into the touring cars, maybe find some other options, which we saw with Michael Crease. We saw Ash Hand take a step back, even though we thought he was heavily, I think he's heavily kind of on board with Car Store, which you've got the hat on there, for Power Max Racing, but he's took a back step and he's going to be doing stuff behind the scenes with Car Store. Maybe, I think he might do a bit in TCR, I think. But they've got 3 cars on the grid this year and he's not in one of them. So obviously finances is definitely a big thing, which I think it's took a few by surprise. Because it looked like a lot of them were angling up the seats for the next year, and then the finances have came and they went, oh, wait a minute, reevaluate. But this guy, talking about main sponsors, brings us on to Laser Tools, who left the sport. They basically said to Aidan Moffat and everything, who they'd been long-term partners with, that they're leaving the sport. So Aidan Moffat obviously had to go out and try and find another main sponsor, etc. And then literally weeks later we saw that Laser Tools announced that it'd be with MB Motorsport and BMW for Jake Hill, which puts him in a very strong position. I think it puts him in a very strong position for the championship. Aggressive driving last season, and the car looks ace as well.
I mean, yeah, that's right.
Excuse me,
didn't it, for Moffat? I mean, Moffat's been there for as long as I can remember. I mean, just to turn around and say, "All right, we're leaving the sport," and then go back Jake Hill. I mean, they've got more of a chance of winning the title with Jake Hill in that Beamer. I think he's going to finish in the top 3, isn't he? Definitely.
They called last year's car the Rocket Ship because it was sponsored by Rocket. I think they'll call this the blooming Laser Beamer or something like that this season, because I think he'll just be on it. He's such an aggressive driver.
It looks mint as well, doesn't it? Look at it.
It looks great. I think it'll be fantastic to see these this weekend.
Yeah.
Also, if anybody's watching who is going to the touring cars, let us know in chat if you're going. We're going this weekend.
You know what's good about that car?
Yeah.
It's the only one on the grid, so we'll know exactly who it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Beamers do look slightly similar, but I think you'll notice this car
with a
We've
blue on
not
it.
got any other images, but I think from the
So
front
I think
you'll
it's
see
got
it.
a big blue bonnet on it.
Yeah.
The Leicesters one. So
It looks impressive. I'm impressed with it, and I think it'll
So
be.
he's not backed in any way by WSR
I think WSR they provide you the car, and they provide you the team, the engineering and stuff like that. And so I believe so, unless MB Motorsport have taken them over. I think they provide you the car. You bring your own sponsor for the right to kind of drive a car out of their paddock, but you're independent from them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But his points will, I think, still go into the WSR pot, I believe. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe not. See, even I have not been interested enough to look into all that because I get that caught up in the drivers.
There's so much to look into in there.
It is a bit convoluted. It's a bit convoluted now when it comes to works and who's backed and who's part of that team and whose points go into that team, then who's independent. It does get a little bit convoluted. But here's the next one. Well, this was the big one. Because BTC Racing rebranded because they believed it sounded too much like the cryptocurrency, and I even hashtagged them with the cryptocurrency by mistake way back in the day, which Rich from Pit Lanes and from the Sausage Keb found absolutely hilarious because I was tagging Bitcoin when I was talking about these drivers, and they must have been like, "Not interested, mate. What are you on about?" But the car looks absolutely fantastic. Really looks brilliant. It is the Hondas. From BTC Racing. It's been rebranded as One Motorsport because they also compete across Europe, possibly worldwide, but definitely across Europe in GT racing, etc. So they wanted to rebrand basically, just so that it stood out from being tagged or in the wrong thing as BTC. But Aidan Moffat went over there alongside Josh Cook, who's sporting a fantastic new hairstyle. It's almost like a quiff with a mullet. And Will Powell joins them. I thought he was going to be in GT racing this year, but Will Powell he did have a couple of races with Team Hard last year, I believe. So he's going to jump in. He's going to jump in the third car. So that's
Moffat back in a front-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually, because he's quite an aggressive driver. And he done well with the Merc when he was in the Mercedes. He looked brilliant
in the A class.
Yeah, in the A class, and I think this could suit him. So we could see the best of him again. It would be really good. But I think Rich will like this car because it's the Honda Civic Type R, and it absolutely looks brilliant. They sound great as well. They've got a real deep kind of tone to them, and they sound brilliant. I actually did think out of nowhere that we might have seen Gordon Shedden possibly take a license and jump in one of these, because these are being backed and helped along by Team Dynamics, or supported by Team Dynamics next season or this season. So I did think we could have saw Flash jump in one of these, but it doesn't seem like it. He might come in later in the season. Maybe Team Dynamics will stick a car on the track for a few testing sessions, etc. But it's a shame to see them gone. But another strong lineup, really. I mean, Powell, not seen enough of him yet. But Aidan Moffat, Josh Cook, we know what Josh Cook's like, don't we?
Yeah, he could easily be a title contender. I mean, you'd be surprised if he wasn't in the top 5 at the end of the year. But Moffat is definitely a plus for that team. I just wonder whether it'll take him a while to settle back down in the front wheel drive, but we'll see. I think my prediction is that they'll have the best merch on the grid. Yeah,
I think you'll see a lot of it. The colours will be. I think the colours you'll see them, won't you, around the grid. Starline. I know that was. I think Moffat. I did see him with a Cupra, which was liveried up with Starline before, and I thought he was going to be Team Hard and do that, but he's obviously ended up here. Which is cool. So, yep. The next one, we're at One Motorsport. Toyota Gazoo Racing. So this is quite cool. Yeah. So sorry, I'll just, before we go into this one, Dan May is going along to the touring cars this weekend. We're going along, but we're poshing it up because Mr. Gledhill decided to book a hotel.
With breakfast as well.
With breakfast. That was the main thing. He said with breakfast, so it better be good. For what we're paying, it better be good. But also, pit lanes are going to be there. Mr. Pit Lanes and TSKF1. Rich is going to be there. Kirkby, is Kirkby going to be there? Is he thinking
Don't
about
think
it?
so. Don't think
Be good
so.
to, even if you can jump along for the Sunday, it'd be pretty cool. But so Toyota Gazoo Racing. So this one, really, there's not a change to line up, but still, well, there is obviously. George Gamble has jumped in the car, so he was part of the Sicily with Car Gods in the BMWs last year. So he's went from rear wheel drive to front wheel drive. And Ricky Collard and Rory Butcher, the same lineup as last season, and the car looks like a Toyota Gazoo racing car, because they all liveried very much the same. But I love these cars, and they're kind of always punching a bit, they're always punching, so I wonder if they've found any performance, and we'll find them anywhere.
I think if they are, it's going to be the hands of Butcher, isn't it? He's the one to make things happen there.
He had a lot of bad luck last season, Butcher, and
yeah, he did.
Especially early on. I think I said the first 6 races, Butcher could have been leading the championship by a good few points, but like tyres going and all that kind of stuff, punctures, etc., ended up being way back. So yeah, interesting one. See how Gazoo get on. Autobright, so this is part of Team Hard again, Autobright Direct with Miller Oil. So this is basically how Dan Lloyd and Bobby Thompson have took their sponsors onto these two cars. So they've not got a picture of Bobby Thompson, which is odd. Even though that does look like the outline of Bobby Thompson.
Yeah,
so it's a bit strange.
I wonder if he's changed his appearance or something.
Yeah, you never know with these boys. But Dan Lloyd,
he might not have delivery on, maybe.
He's a good driver, Dan Lloyd. If nobody's seen his
YouTube channel.
Yeah. If nobody's seen his YouTube channel, go over and check out his 100 mile an hour crash, or 140 mile an hour crash he's put on. It's a big hit, and he watches it for the first time. Yeah, the one at Oulton Park that we saw, which Creasy got tangled up at the time. But he gets his peanuts caught in his harness, and he makes a bit of a scream inside the car. It's quite harrowing, but it's worth watching, because what's Rich saying there? I've just caught that. Big Rob, the mod, he'll be there as well. That's cool. So it'll be good to meet you all. It'll be good to see everyone. We'll probably pop over, won't we, Harry?
Oh yeah. If we're feeling okay, we might be a bit woozy.
I'm supposed to be taking my blue car as well, which means God. If you see a Focus flying around the track the wrong way, then we've drank too much. What is he says? There's no change in the lineup apart from there is. Yep, I am channeling my inner Murray Walker. No change in the lineup apart from that there is an extra driver. But these two, there's nothing. The car does look better than. I think the car looks better in person with the black. They like to get all the sponsors they can on these Team Hard cars, but if it lets the guys go racing, then that's what it's all about. People give Team Hard shit about the amount of sponsors they get on their car. It's a bit of a BTCC meme about like how many sponsors can you get on the car. But if it gets folk racing and it lets them be on the grid, then you've got 2 extra drivers on the grid there that wouldn't have been on the grid. So
it's what it's about, isn't it? It's about having the best looking sponsors and stuff. Miller's Oils then, because they sponsored the Ginettas, didn't they?
Yes.
Have they always been with these two, or have they just come?
I don't
they
believe
thought,
so.
we need to be present still.
I don't believe so. I can't remember them being with them, apart from possibly because the Ginettas were it was the Miller Oils Ginetta series. So maybe they still want a sponsorship on the Toka package, because obviously they've left now for British GT, which I still believe would be a good. So where are we? Went Miller Oils, Car Store, Powermax Racing. This lineup definitely has changed, Rich. They've now got 3 cars on the grid. Did they borrow a TBL license from Team Hard? And then I think some of the Team Hard licenses have been borrowed from Aidan Moffat Racing. I think that's how it's worked out. Andrew Watson, young Irish guy, bit of a GT racer previously, I believe. Brand new in the series. Aaron Taylor-Smith, a bit of a stalwart of the series. We know all about him, really. He's went from Team Hard over to there, so it'll be interesting to see if he goes forwards on the grid. And Mikey Doble, who won 2 championships in 2022. 2 totally different championships. Yeah, BMW. BMW, I think it was like a club class championship, and a Ginetta GT, I want to say 4 championship as well, both in the same year.
The one that was on the Turk pack.
No, I think it was the other one. The one that was no, no, I believe it was the other one. It was like the Ginetta Challenge. So it was
Right.
out with. It was out with the majority of it was out with the Toka package, I believe. But he won 2 championships, so he's one to watch out for, really. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
Rich said it to me before when we spoke about him that, winning races and championships is what makes people's ears prick up and think, whoa, I wonder what they. I wonder if they
What's
can give
he
it a
got?
go. Yeah. So I mean, that's how Creasy got into the grid, winning at Ginetta's and all the rest of it. So, so that's Car Store Power Max Racing with 3 on the grid.
That car looks alright, doesn't it? I've seen that. Seen the livery of that.
Yeah, and this one is Go Fix, with Auto Aid Breakdown, and this is the last of the 2 team hard cars, or 2 of the 6, and it's Jack Butel, Nick Hamilton, and this car looks ace. I think the car looks brilliant. It looks a lot better when you see it. There's other views of it from the front, etc. It looks really, really good. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. A lot of people are expecting to see Jack Goff back in a team hard car, but it's not came to fruition. So yeah, what's your favourite livery? What's
Mine.
your favourite livery in chat? What is your favourite car?
I've got 2, I think.
That we went through.
I've got 2. I think I love the way the One Sport with Starline Racing look.
Yeah.
They look mint.
Yeah.
And I love the laser tools of Jake Hill. Have we got any pictures from the media day?
Media Day. I think they will have put it on their main news. This is all courtesy, of course, of BTCC.net.
Yeah.
Don't want to wait too. Yeah, it's your usual pictures of somebody trying to get away from a bunch of cars that are trying to attack you. That's what it looks like to me. But see, I think the cars from the front. I think the cars.
Yeah, look at that! Look at that! Beautiful.
Doesn't do them much justice, does it? When you, I don't think there's much more photographs there. Just debuts, and there's the hunting pack of cars again. Anyway, so I think that was about it for the British touring cars. I was going to do.
Just a quick one. I might put you on the spot here, but do you know what support package is there this weekend?
Yes, I do, because I've got the BTCC timetable right here, which tells me that it's the Vetri Motors Mini Challenge, the Porsche Sprint Challenge for Great Britain, the Rocket the F4s,
Yeah.
and the Carrera Cup Great Britain.
All right. So we've got mini Porsches. So it's a bit of a
Before we go into the timetable, though, I'll just read out a couple of these. I think Rich has said One Motorsport's his favourite. I think Chris Kirkby likes Jake Hill's car, the laser tools. My favourite, I do like the Starline Hondas, but I'm going to go with the Napa Racing just because it's a Ford, just to be different. I like the Focus. I like the Napa Racing Focuses. Yeah, they look really good.
They do look good. Yeah.
So my next question was going to be, just after seeing the drivers there, predictions on who wins, who's going to be competitive.
The championship.
No, I won't go with championship yet. We'll wait until after the weekend. We'll do a Monday review. But who wins? Who wins that? Napa for Dan as well.
Who wins Donington?
Who's going to be competitive? I mean, we're going to have 3 races. Also, I forgot to say, we spoke about it before, the qualifying for all the guys who are going to the touring cars this weekend is it's the top 10 showdown qualifying. So what we do is we have half an hour of all these mentalists flying around the track, putting in the best lap times, and then we have a 5-minute interval, and then the top 10 from the grid get to go out and basically get 10 minutes to put their fastest laps in, which I think is really interesting, especially with the weather conditions. Imagine if the track's slowly getting worse, but you've got a top 10 shootout coming. Could be really interesting. Also, the new hybrid rules, which I've done a video on, so you can look at the channel if you want to watch that. It explains it a little bit better than probably what I'm going to explain now, but generally it's going to be a sliding scale, again like it was last season, but they now have the top 7 now have a minimum speed in which they can deploy it at. Is that right? Yes.
Yeah.
a minimum speed which they can deploy it at. So
but that's increased. That's increased, hasn't it, since last year?
they've increased the minimum speed in which you can deploy hybrid, which means if somebody behind you hasn't got that same, basically if you're in 7th, the guy in 8th can deploy the hybrid quicker than you. So that makes it interesting. But then they've got a reduced amount of laps in which they can do that. So it's going to become really tactical. And I think the option tyres on this weekend as well.
All sorts going on.
So I think they've got to use 2 tyres in 3 races. I believe. I don't think it's 3 tyres in 3 races this weekend. Is it? God, I've got to read that now. Because
no, I don't think so. But they probably will if it's raining. So.
No, it's only Snetterton and Croft where all 3 choices must be used for all 3 races. That's going to be really interesting. But yeah, so here's what it's going to look like this weekend. Saturday, free practice, all the rest of it, qualifying for all the rest. You get a couple of races on Saturday as well with the Virtue Motors Mini Challenge and the Porsche Sprint Challenge. And you get the qualifying, which is nice and late at 15:40, which on my weather says... we'll wait until it flicks back to Saturday because I've just got this in a little bit of a... wait till we flick to Sunday. Can I press this and it'll flick to Sunday? No, John's not set that up.
You were I could see it before.
Sunday we've got showers from 12. 12 onwards. But yeah, looks interesting. The weather makes it interesting. You've got an F4 race as well up at 20 to 5, which is cool on the Saturday as well. Then the Sunday, first British touring car race, 11:30. Second touring car race, 20 to 3. And third touring car race at 5:25, which is great because we're beside an airport, so there's not that much noise abatement. And they're all 18-lap races, so I think that'll be worthwhile. Yeah, it'll be worthwhile sticking about for that, won't it? Unless we're absolutely drenched and we can't be bothered.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
In other news, I'm just going to quickly fire through these, Harry, is that Creasy made his debut in the British GT Championship, and in his class, they went P1 in their class and P3 overall, which is absolutely mega.
Where are they racing?
They were racing at Donington Park, the long version. But yeah, they done absolutely brilliant. Both it's Michael Crease and Thomas Holland. Tom Holland does loads of kind of video stuff as well. He's got like a guy.
That's Spider-Man.
Yeah, a boy follows him around with a video camera, and it's really good actually watching him. He gets reaction on the last corner as they take the checkered flag, they take over another car on the way to the checkered flag, etc. They just done really well. But they made they took a gamble, they said, on this to start on slicks for the second race, but it pissed it down basically, so it went against them. So it's a shame. But we're hoping to speak to him soon. But the problem is he's too noisy globetrotting because he is driving an absolute beast of a GT4 car in the GT4 European Series, the Pro-Am honours for Elite Motorsport. So Josh Rattikin, who I believe was in the Porsches before, he's a terrific driver, is going to be his teammate, and it's Elite Motorsport. I've got a McLaren Artura GT4, and they're racing at Monza. And look at this. Look at that. It's one of my favourite cars, that. It really is.
It just looks beautiful, doesn't it?
So it'll be interesting to tune in and see how he gets on. It really will. And I believe that was all the news I had. I had a very inappropriate Aston Martin branding poster that I saw earlier, which I won't share with you because I'll probably get banned, but I'll share it in a chat somewhere.
The F1 news, well, we're not speaking about F1 in the chat, but it's been a bit boring, hasn't it, without it? There's not been a lot to talk about. But
yeah, well, our sister channel, or sister channel, we'll call it a sister channel, which Rich looks after, is TSK F1, and he covers all the F1 news and reviews and does all the watch-alongs on there. And yeah, he said he's been struggling for a bit of news on the F1 recently, so you know, if you can't talk about nothing. But if there is news, he will definitely bring you it first. that is for sure. Not slow sports news. So I think that is about it then. We were hoping to do a Monday kind of review of what's gone on, an evaluation of what's went on in the weekend. We'll try and get it all in a little show like this, and we'll probably do it live if anybody's available to jump in. What do you think, Harry? Are you available on Monday? Are you busy or?
Yeah, that's a bit late on again, but yeah.
If not Monday, we'll sort something out. But we'll definitely do a review of what's gone on at the British Touring Cars at Donington Park this weekend. There's a few drivers I want to kind of catch up with and have a chat with. I'm going to catch up with Rich and Dan May and Rob Barker.
Are you going to the qualifying, Rich? You qualified on Saturday or was it just Sunday?
Hello, Ollie. Ollie Flux has joined us. Sorry, Ollie, you've just caught the end of us, really. You have to go back to the start to watch all the kind of the rundown of all the teams. But feel free to put comments in after we stop the live, or if you've got any questions of that now. But if you bump into any of us, I mean, I might wear my TSK hoodie with a little sausage. A little sausage.
Can't miss you. Can't miss you, can we, John?
Can't miss me. They might think I'm a marshal, that's the problem.
You won't miss Glenn either with his big bumps.
Yeah, Gled's been working out, so he's ready for all the hills.
Yeah, I'm there from around lunchtime. Perfect.
Yeah,
We'll probably see you on Saturday then.
He's there from around lunch.
What time is it raining on Saturday? Beautiful, look at it.
Saturday.
That's Sunday.
Sorry, I should have went to Sunday there. I should have left it on that really so everyone can see it. Is it bumped? Oh yeah, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. It says around 12 o'clock we're going to get showers.
Beautiful.
It's not particularly cold, but it does say that it's going to be windy and wet off and on during the weekend. So we'll see.
Perfect for qualifying.
But yeah, thanks for joining us in the chat. Hope you all smashed a like on it, and we'll see you on Monday or Tuesday. I think it'll be Monday and you can tell us all your views on all the madness that's going to happen this weekend. So yeah, cheers for tuning in, folks, and we might have a quiz for you next time as well, maybe.
I'm crazy. Who knows?
Right. We'll see if we can stop this stream, because I'm a technological nightmare. Right. Cheers, folks, for tuning in. Cheers, Jan. Cheers everyone in chat. Bye-bye.